Today, I'm going to be showing you how I built this web application, Caption AI. With Caption AI, you're able to upload an image and then receive a text caption that you could then use for social media, blog posts, or alt text for accessibility. I was inspired by OpenAI's most recent demo of image-to-text generation using GPT-4. They were able to upload an image of a squirrel and then receive a text output of what was happening in the photo. However, since GPT-4 is not readily accessible yet, I opted for another solution. I was able to build out this web application in a matter of days using one of Vercel's templates created by Hassan. He made a great video explaining how he created his viral web application, RestorePhotos.io, where you could upload an old image and then receive a restored version of that image. You should definitely check out his video. I've included the card up above. The tech stack that I'll be using for this project is Next.js, Replicate, Upstash Redis, and Tailwind CSS. Everything that I will be discussing will be linked in the description below. So let's get building. So the first thing we need to do is set up our project. In order to do that, we are going to go to this repo and clone it onto our local machine. I got a terminal open and we're gonna do a git clone and paste that in. So once we've cloned it, we could go ahead and open it in Visual Studio Code. Once we have it open, we could go ahead and do an npm install. Once we have all our packages installed, then we could go ahead and do an npm run dev. And we could open up a local host. Now, once we have it open, we could try creating a caption. It takes us to this page and we can upload an image, but we are going to get an error because we don't have our environmental variables set up. So we need to go ahead and create our environmental variables. To do that, I'm going to stop what is currently running. I'm going to refresh the page. It's going to show that the site cannot be reached. We're going to go back into VS Code and we're going to create a new file called .env. Inside here, we can see what we need to put inside here. So it's going to be this. Now we need a key from Replicate. So we're going to go head over to the Replicate website. So this is what it looks like. They make it easy for you to run machine learning models. We are going to sign in. If you don't have an account, you could go ahead and create one. Once we're signed in, we're going to go to our account and copy our API token. Once we have it copied, we could then go back to VS Code and add it into our .env. So we have one key down. Now, after doing this for Replicate, we're going to do the same thing for Upstash. To do that, we are going to go to upstash.com. We're going to go to console. We are going to log in. If you don't already have an account, you could create one. Now, here's what my account looks like. We are going to make sure that we are on Redis. I've already created a database for us. On the free tier, you're able to create one database. If you want to create more, you have to add your credit card, which I did. So since I already have the database created, I'm going to click on here. To access your environmental variables for Upstash Redis, we're going to go to REST API, click .env, and we are going to copy this and paste it into VS Code. So now that we have finished adding to our .env file, we could then go ahead and run our npm run div one more time, go back to our local host, and when we try creating a caption this time and upload an image, we should be able to do so. So now you can see our caption has popped up. So we have our project set up. Now I'm going to go a little bit into detail about how everything is working. If we start at the home page, this is what our landing page looks like. And you can see our file structure. We have components, pages, public, styles, and utils. I'm going to close the .env file since we don't need it anymore. And we are going to take a look at pages. So our index page is our main page right here. You can see in our main page, we're importing some components. We have a nav bar, hero section, and footer. And the head is where we name our title right here in our browser. And right underneath it, I have a link if you want to see it. This is how I am able to add an emoji as my fave icon in the top right here. So that's how I'm doing that. I did something similar in a previous project in one of my YouTube videos. Now in this section, this is where we're setting the styling for the page. This is where I have the dark purple gradient background that is set up, which I used from a previous T3 Stack app. And here, this is where we're creating our layout for our general web app. If I were to expand this, you could see how there's some spacing on this side, and that's because we're setting the max width to 6XL. You can see same at the bottom. That's how our footer is also being set up. This is also responsive. If we go inside inspect and we shrink it, you can see that everything fits and collapses into a column. So if we expand back out, that's what it looks like. So if you go here, it's nothing too intense. If we look at the nav bar, it's very simple. We could go inside here. This is where we have our logo that we have in the top. This is where we are assigning our stylings for our button right here, the star on GitHub, and that's where it's creating the little animation effect that's going circular. This is where all that's located. Now if we go to our hero section, that is where we have our main text right here. I have also added a clipboard component, so that's how we're able to copy the text inside here by pressing this button. You can see that the text changed to copied, and that's happening right here in this section. And this is the styling for the example right here. I'm hard coding most of this. I have an image inside the public folder already called example, and that's how it's being displayed here. And then I have this button and this text area that's being shown. Now where the magic is happening is mainly inside this caption file. This is our route to our caption page. You can see we have a lot of imports that we are importing. We have uploader and upload drop zone to handle this section right here to upload our images. These are some really awesome packages that you could download to have a ready default UI for you for uploading and how it handles it as well. This is where we configure our uploader that is going to then be inputted into our upload drop zone. We have options that we have instantiated. The parameters make sure that the images that are being uploaded are of a certain type. We make sure that we don't want it to be able to be cropped, and the styling of the button that we want it to be right here. And also on validate, if it's validated, whether it is allowed to be uploaded or not safely. If we go inside our component, we have a lot of variables that are created. This is where we are creating our upload drop zone. So this is our component for that. And these are all the parameters that we saw above that's being inputted. As soon as the image is uploaded into our web app, this is what it does. It sets the original photo, and then it does our generate caption function. You can see we have a function right here, right underneath, generate caption. What it's doing, it's fetching our API that we have. I will show in 1 second, and it is trying to get a response from that API. And then the data that we receive from it is our caption, and we're saving it into our caption variable by this method. And if anything else goes wrong, we have our error condition set. So we could go and look at this right now, our generate API. It will be inside our pages folder, inside API. And this is also where we are doing our Upstash rate limiting. We are importing Redis, and this Redis client was created inside our utils folder right here. You can see this is where our Redis client is being instantiated. So if we go back to our API, we are importing a couple things. We are requesting the IP address of our user. There's the rate limiting, and we're using Upstash rate limit for that. Inside here, as you can see, create a new rate limiter, allows 3 requests every 15 minutes. So the reason why you might want a rate limiter is because you don't want someone to be always fetching your API. It costs you money. So this is the API that we're using with the replicate. Now if we go to the demo tab and go all the way to the bottom, it will tell us how much it costs each time we run it. So each time we run it, it costs 0.00042 cents to run and replicate, but it will vary, right? So you have to just keep that in the back of your mind. We'll be visiting this again in a second, so I'll keep it right here on the side. If we go a little bit lower, so this is where we do that, this rate limiting. And Upstash Redis is really helpful with that. It's doing it in its database. So we can see if we go back here and we go to our data browser, you can already see certain IP addresses and how many times they have tried uploading an image. So this is also charging us in addition to our replicate API, but it's going to be 0.2 cents per 1,000 commands. If we keep going down, this is where we are doing our fetching for our machine learning API right here, very important. This is the URL that we're putting into. This is we're saying that it's a post method. The version number, you're able to find this version number. If you want to use other machine learning APIs, you can find the version number right here. If you go to API, you go down, you can see right here the version that you're looking for. These two are the same. And then for our input, if you go a little bit lower in this section right here, you could see the different parameters that we can select. So we want to make sure that we include this right here, our image. This is how it knows what image that we're uploading, and the image URL is being instantiated right here. It's receiving our request. And then another thing we also wanted to do is choose a specific task. So we want image captioning, so we assign that right here. If you want to change it, you could change it. You can look at this API, you could test it out on their playground right here. You can see there's different options to select from, but we are going to stick with the image captioning. While we are waiting for a response, we are going to pull, meaning if we go back to our application and we upload an image, it takes some time, right, to do all of these tasks. So you can see these little dots are showing up. We're pulling for the data. Once the data has succeeded and we're able to fetch it, this is where the response happens. We set the caption to our final output. So that's the main thing that's happening inside our API. Go back to our front end, you can see, like I mentioned before, this is where the caption is being sent. If we keep going down, you can see the basic components are there. We have our navbar, we have our generate your caption header. So depending on certain states that our web application is at, it's going to show different items. The first one is saying that if we don't have a photo that's uploaded, then we are going to show the upload zone. You can see how the upload zone went away after the image and the caption has been generated. Now in this section, we're saying that if the original photo does exist, but we don't have a caption, then we're waiting that stage before the little 3 dots is happening here. If it's loading, right? If the loading condition is true. If the error condition is true, this is what it's going to show, the error that it's going to respond with. Skip the section right here. So this is our final output. This is what we want to show. If we have a caption and we have our original photo, then we are going to show both of those items. If we have the photo and it's no longer loading, we want to show this button on the bottom to let the user upload a new photo again. So there's a lot of logic that's happening here. I think it's good to take time to look at it and really understand what conditions we are trying to meet and what we want our UI to look like. And yeah, that's how Caption AI was created. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like always, if you have any questions, leave it down in the comment section below. And yeah, until next time.